challenges that are faced by African American youth are simply faced by youth in general who are not well off in the United States of America today. And so let's sort of pick up where we left off.
Okay, absolutely. And I think very strong, it needs to be made perfectly clear that when we're thinking about the 50 years ago when Lyndon B. Johnson had the war on poverty, all of those issues were concerned about the majority group in America. Welfare should be understood without any question was developed for the majority group, meaning European Americans here in America. And many times stereotypes have a tendency to emerge in thinking that when we're thinking about CORE or Head Start or any other type of program that might help impoverished people, media sometimes will go into a low-income, impoverished area, find an African-American mother that got 10, 12 children, got another one on the way, and think that they want to then have another one so they can get some set-aside money. But that is just not the case. In the real sense, these programs were set up for the majority group, but there is still, as we said at the very outset, a disproportionate amount of minority groups, African Americans in particular, that are disproportionate in reference to the percentages, and therefore it's in need. And when we can have these types of programs within the communities, it can be a positive. When we think economically, as we talked in the last segment about cost benefit, the amount of cost that may be given, you have a larger benefit from it in our community and helping out versus people end up in prison where you're having to spend a tremendous amount, maybe $30,000, $35,000, $40,000 per inmate every year that they're in there. So we can put it in the positive way on the front end. We can certainly have good outcomes of African American youth and other people throughout the United States. Because one of the analysis that has been done, even during the time of Lyndon B. Johnson, you can go back to that same area that was so impoverished then, and you come today and go back to that same area and talk to a person. If they did not have a program, they will be in the same situation that they were during that earlier time of the war on poverty. So I want to state that as an issue, as a problem that we still have here in America, in the richest nation in the world. And so we definitely need those types of programs to help African American youth. It is indeed disproportionate in that area as well as other youth. And that's why you see these promise zones that President Obama, who's sensitive to these, saying that if a family or a child want to try to progress and do well, that they should have that opportunity to. And that's what these particular helping aids would do for youth in America.
You know, Dr. Sanford, one of the things that we've always been concerned with is political participation. And I think that in a real sense, there have been many efforts in order to diminish minority political participation in this country. What are some of the things that you would say in reference, since we're coming up to Dr. King's holiday and that kind of information, what would you say in reference to young people, especially understanding the importance of political participation, and how would you encourage them to become involved in the political process, regardless of what party or what group that they wish to participate with, that as long as they understand that it's important in terms of their own lives and participating in politics. Speak to that during the next few minutes.
And this is a very important question that you raised, because all of this generated, as we start off by talking about the government help. And so here you are with younger people that make up a significant portion of our population that need to be a part of that process. Education, I think, is that key to that. One has to be very well aware and educated as to the social ills of the past and how they unfolded to the present, so that they will have this at least intellectual idea about why there is a need to have certain things today. That's why you have some of the right-wing conservative, Rush Limbaugh and many others that can say things and people feel that they are correct in their assessment because they are unaware of the history. That's why I laid out that paradigm earlier of hundreds of years of enslavement that led through Jim Crow, and Michelle Alexander has a book, who's a lawyer, entitled The New Jim